Testing one, two, three.
Testing one, two, three.
Live Friday, and we have a chat. And there's limited number of people. We start off with the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, power, glory, yours now and forever. Thank you for your Son, our King, Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. So I hearken you back to the beginning. I'm going to be answering some questions today, but this is very important because I've been getting some. Well, my email hasn't been. Obviously, you know that I'm underneath tremendous amounts of censorship. So what's happening is that my email is Apple's doing wonderful things to it. It sends it into junk. It's giving me problems with it. Interesting enough, one of the videos that was taken down and was flagged and etc. was exactly what they basically are saying now. Okay, which is that the Wuhan lab was the source of the COVID virus. I said that almost 2 years ago. Okay, and yeah, because how did I know this? I can't name the person, but it's a geneticist, and essentially it's scientists from Cold Spring Harbor Labs who really knows their stuff. They basically told me there is no way, Bob, that this thing was created. Okay. Originally, it was natural, but it's been modified, helped. Okay. So now everybody's saying that it's an accident. Killer bees was an accident. It was carelessness. There have been other things, but through killer bees, what they were doing was they were trying to take the quality of the Africanized bee and mix it with the European bee to come up with a hybrid bee that would work even harder. And it kind of did that, but instead they're very, very aggressive. Okay. So I personally, my opinion is that, well, this is a fact. Look at the only countries that have not signed a bioweapons treaty. And there you go. So, one of the things I always tell everybody who's in science, do I have any chats here at all? Does any chats showing up? Yeah. Well, at any rate, and what I tell people who are interested in science, I say to them that a mandatory reading. Oh, at least I got a comment. Hey, Bob. A mandatory reading is pop out chat. Then I'll pop this one out because it's not doing anything. Okay, a mandatory reading is Shelley. which is the author of Frankenstein. And the main reason why I say that is because Dr. Frankenstein was very arrogant. And what happens is you get that feeling, you know, ooh, no, the position of God has already been taken. Okay. So when you think that you're starting to do godlike things, no, you have to readdress that. So one of the things that I wanted to address in the Bible that I think is misunderstood tremendously, because what I said to you, and I'll say it to you again, it is a test. Um, not the- it's a test for what? It's a test for truth, it's a test for honesty, and it's a test for true love. Think about it as you go and you do a relationship with a strange person. Before you put that kind of trust in that person, you test them. Okay. There are tests that you give. In this case, it's not so much as a test for us testing God. It's a test of us testing our faith in God, our Father. And it's a test of truthfulness, to be honest, where you are. And he wants your love and worship just as much as you want love also. Okay. So if you go around life and you feel that you're not loved, well, that's wrong, because you are a creation. Okay. So I'm going to read to you something very interesting. Okay. So going back to Genesis chapter 1:26. Um, one of our greatest needs is to know that we are loved. Each one of us has to feel certain deep down in our hearts that someone loves us, cares for us, and has our best interest at heart. Okay, we seek relationships, we seek approval. That is how God designed us. Remember, God created us in his own image. It's not so much as a comparison between us and God. No. It's a it's in order for God to have a true fellowship, true worship, that understanding, that freedom, that choice, that is what he wants. He wants true love, true worship. He wants just what you want, to where that you're there for him. And you're thinking, oh, how can I be there for God? Let me tell you something. In this world, we need to not only pray for God in our lives, but this effrontery on things, you have to realize it's literally sticks in the eye. And thus, um, I empathize with that hurt and pain. So I'll continue. That is how God designed us. He wants us to know He loves every one of us with a passion intensity too deep for words. I have felt, seen, witnessed this love in my life on all aspects. And I realize now, well, I realized it then, but I realized the source of all my love throughout my entire life is Him. God created human beings with a fellowship in mind, first with Himself and then with others. But we cannot fully love one another until we ourselves experience the love of God. We experience His love when we willingly surrender to His call to be our Savior, Lord, and friend. And that is the reason why, one of the biggest reasons why His Son came here. Yes, His Son came here and died on the cross for our salvation, so that we would have the same two choices. People like two choices. Back in the Garden of Eden, there were two trees. Okay, tree of knowledge and tree of life. Okay. Everything is a test, because what do you do, for example, if you were in a relationship with somebody and you lied to that person, or and you do other things, right? Are you loving that person? Are you showing honor to that person? Are you, see where I'm going with this? What is the difference? Yes, a person, it's not God. But what people don't seem to understand, and what they try to justify, is that God sees everything. How do I know this? This place is a simulation. It's a simulation created by God, run by God. There's scientific proof of this, okay? And that's why it's here, okay? We're being tested every single day. Now, one of the things that really irritates the crap out of me, it's really starting to irritate me, is I'm going to get this nonsense over with, okay? Legally, on the constitutional basis. Let's discuss some physical history. Let's just say that it was come to the conclusion that Nixon cheated during the election of his second presidency, and that the reason why he won was because of the break-in, so they had all this information about the campaign of the Democrats and everything was going on. That's why it was such a landslide. This is the theory, okay? Well, it turns out that some of that is actual truth. And they were shady games and sabotages and everything else. So what was actually going to happen? Agnew resigned. Ford became vice president. And then later on, when Nixon resigned, because he was going to be impeached. So what does that mean when he's impeached? He's thrown out of office. The 25th Amendment takes place, and then the vice president becomes president. That's exactly what happened when he resigned. Why am I saying this? Okay. What is this August? No, there is no, that's not. I told you before there would, yes, the Thomas Jefferson thing, everything else. There was a time limit on that. Okay. It's been passed, gone. Thus, what has to happen, if it's going to happen, is going to be legal stuff. Oh yes, it'll go be, but it's all going to be no. Okay, so no. So I've been telling you the truth. I don't know what these other people are telling, but I've been telling you the truth about it. Okay, so now some other specific news. The Earth has sped up again 1.2 milliseconds. All right. So if you're on the West Coast of the United States in California, at a minimum, you should pack a bug out bag and put it into your car or whatever, but it should be able to enough to sustain you for at least 2 weeks. At a maximum, I would definitely consider moving. Yes. Um, all the signs show that there's going to be a huge geothermal event on the West Coast. It could be within 2 years, 3 years, but the odds are it's going to happen soon. Okay. Um, so, I, my wife accusing me of trusting people way too easily. I guess I do, but the reality is that after I trust them and they betray me, I forgive them, but I do not trust them again. They lose my grace. They don't lose God's grace, which is incredible. That's why He's God and I'm not. But I do forgive them. It's important to forgive them. So, also, I have some news to report. What did I see up in Vermont? Well, socialism does not work. I saw a 50% increase in prices. I saw about 50% of stores that were closed that used to be open. And I've seen all businesses want help but can't get it, so they cut their hours accordingly. And it now costs me $58 to go to. That's not including tolls. With tolls, I guess it's about $80 to go to my house in Vermont, which is so. But the thing about God is that He set everything up so that you would have the choice. He wants to know that you really love Him for yourself, for Him, that it's true, that your friendship, your admiration for our Father in heaven is genuine. Now, He knows that, but I'm not probably putting it into the proper words, but it's important that you understand that He is the source. That He's the source of everything. So I saw horrific poverty, um, they told us to stay home. They told us as second homeowners to don't come up. You'll buy everything. There's very limited supplies. Blah 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 blah. Oh well, that was genius because us not going up there and spending money and doing things that just caused all kinds of problems. To where that they're I'll tell you something. It was the first time I ever went to Home Depot and other places, and they practically attacked me when I went into the store. I was looking for some, washes and fittings and whatnot, and they were extremely accommodating, unlike here on Long Island. So there's no question that the people that are there are very thankful to see somebody buying something. But uh, definitely shopping and whatnot, uh, very, very limited things. Shelves were not stocked full, and very expensive. I wouldn't even go to say it was more expensive than here, which is really expensive here. Food prices have gone up at least 60 to 75% here in Long Island. Up there, I would definitely say it's 100%. This is ridiculous. I'm sorry about this, Terry. Holden review. It's uh 1 o'clock on now on other news. Uh, I got a lab result and checkup, and my doctor says I have some of the best labs he's ever seen me have, which is incredible. I do have to lose again my 100 pounds. But I've been walking 3 miles a day with my dog and doing other things, and feel good. Tired, but that goes without saying. But yeah, up in Vermont, that mountain kicks my butt. It's you have to basically you're walking uphill for everything. Um, Even when you're walking downhill, you're walking uphill. So it's hard to explain, but it's So the other thing is that I'm actually looking in. I'm going to be in Vermont in August. So you know, if you're interested, I lost a bunch of subscribers. I lost a bunch of Patreon people. If you're interested in having a get together, and staying at the Sun Mountain Lodge, which is right on the mountain, and if I get more than 10, I can get a group rate. And there's so much history up there. Everything from where George Washington was, and all kinds of things, and um, to just the history of my family up there. We go back to 1647, and there's homes that were built with lumber that was milled with my family's. You know, that's what they were in. They were into making firewood and lumber, and it's pretty interesting. And then Orvis is the best. I would say it's probably one of the best fishing, shooting schools that there is. It's pretty. They have a pretty thorough fishing program. They have a very thorough shooting program for skeet and sporting clays and things like that. And I can arrange that as well. But one thing you can depend upon, um, Vermont in August is still gets hot, folks. During the daytime in the valley, it could be 90 degrees, but on the mountain, 80, 83 degrees, 85 degrees, and at night, that wonderful cool breeze, and beautiful stars. So at night up there is really nice. It's very, very nice. And then there's horseback rides, and there's all kinds of stuff. And um, the Bromley Mountain has a whole kiddie park section and adventure park section for adults. There's zip lines to all kinds of activities to miniature golf. I mean, lots of stuff. So I'll be anybody who wants interest on that. Please, let me know, and we'll, do it. But the thing that they flagged me, demonetized my channel of, was a two-year-old video that didn't even have any of my words, which is interesting, right? Just images, and so that's very interesting because the video was up for 2 years, and I have permission for the song. So, are there any questions before I proceed? What evidence do you have that any God exists just because? Okay. Very good. Very good question. Scientific evidence. Down to a tetrahedron, Planck constant tetrahedron, each one of those is actually numbered. We have evidence of this. And it's essentially, it's almost like you're in a video game, really, when you look at it. And it takes consciousness to actually make anything real. That's also been proved. If you want to know, look up the quantum eraser experiment. In addition, okay, the nature of the law of this universe is entropy. Okay. Well, what is entropy? What does it mean? Well, I'll give you an example. So you have a bottle of ammonia and it's concentrated. Okay. You open it up and then you smell it approximately 15 seconds later, 50 feet away. The reason why is because it's in a higher concentration in the bottle. It's in a lower concentration where you are. And that's what entropy means. It goes from higher concentrations to low concentrations. Life itself is against entropy. Okay? It organizes matter. It does so very elegantly because it not only organizes the matter, but it does work to organize the matter and then stores energy to replicate. Now everybody says, oh, it came from a single cell. That's just not possible. The reason why that's not possible is because of entropy. We get back to the other thing. There's no way you can get anything to get organized in any meaning of shape or form if nature itself is constantly breaking it up. Okay. They don't want that to happen. Okay. So now we'll talk about evolution. Okay. Let's just talk about simple things. We can talk about the cilia of our sperm cell, or you can talk about bacterium. Same thing. What you have is a motor. You have a linear proton motor. Okay. It's essentially moving the shaft, which is then curved to propel itself and then through a medium, protoplasm. Well, again, that's technically three systems. The motor is one system, one type of technology. The shaft is another one. And then the curvature of the shaft is like a propeller. That's another one. Those are three separate systems that, in order to work, they all must exist. You cannot have any one of them gone because then it doesn't work. If you just have the motor, why do you have the motor? If you just have the shaft, why do you have the shaft? If you just have the curving, why do you have it? Without the three, so how can you possibly evolve it? It's not mathematically possible. Can't do it. Okay. Evolving means that you had to have some kind of rudimentary motor, some kind of shaft, and some kind of propeller all at the same time. Can't happen. Okay. Took us 400,000 years to develop a linear motor. Okay. And it's not an easy thing to do. So if you look at the efficiency of bacteria, for example, there's only 18 to 20,000 genes. There's not a lot of trash in there. It's very efficient. Okay. And that you could say, okay, the efficiency is evolved to a certain extent. There's no question that it adapts. There's no question that it changes, but it has qualifiers in there where there'll be only a certain amount of things that it can modify. Some of the root stuff it can't. For example, I'll give a crude example: a dog. Okay, dogs are really all dogs on this planet are really 20,000 genes apart. All humans on this planet are 20,000 genes apart. We're very incestuous. Dogs are very incestuous too. The reality is that it came down to about 6 dogs, and you could say the same on people. So how's that? Okay. How's that? So on a scientific basis, it's impossible. People say life is natural. I say to you that life is not natural. Life is on purpose. It's tenacious, and it definitely adapts. It definitely does things. But the fact of the origin of it is divine, because you can you can't mathematically 3 separate systems. It's not possible to get those to work together and function. It's like having an outboard motor. You have an outboard motor, you have a shaft, and then you have a propeller. So you have 3 separate technologies. So yeah, I mean, there had to be intelligence behind that to make that, and of course there was. Evinrude made the first outboard motor. I hope that answered your questions. If you want anything else, I can answer more. When I died, I actually saw more though. But what evidence do you have? Gonna just because we don't have all the answers means a God. Well, scientifically, as we get, like for example, we know that I'm gonna describe it this way. Okay, space time you could consider, and no, it's not this, but and the analogy for it is equivalent. A meatloaf. Okay, so you wearing a specific slice of that meatloaf. But the truth is that every single slice, the smallest one is down to the 10 to the minus 45th. And then there's nothing between those slices, nothing. Each of those slices, by the way, is a literal universe onto itself because it's just the same thing, which means everything that exists in this universe exists in that one slice, but at that specific space time, that location in the meatloaf. Okay, so my thinking and a bunch of other people I chat with, um, quantum gravity people, things like this. We have discussions. We think it's also we can't prove this out to the 10 to the minus to the plus 45th. This matrix that we're in is, um, but we don't know this for sure. We can't prove it. We can prove the beginning, but we can't prove, you know. I mean, there's others that will argue that, you know, um, it's just as big as your room. So, but we are in a simulation. I did a whole radio show on this as well. I went through pretty extensive discussions with others, and we went through the math, and it's yeah. So, we are using Nikola Tesla technology, Debbie, right now. If you have lights in your house, you're using alternating current, and that is Tesla's technology. If you have a three-phase motor, if you have a refrigerator, you're using Tesla's technology. If you have a fluorescent light bulb, you're using Tesla's technology. If you have a transformer that's using a flyback, using Tesla's technology. If you're listening to this on your iPhone or a smartphone or something like that, you're using a dipole antenna, which is a Tesla coil, which is Tesla's technology. Um, yeah. So as far as free energy goes, there's no such thing as free energy. Ah, okay. There is cheap energy, but it'll never be free because no matter what it is, you have to build it. Okay, but building it is work, and work is money. Okay, so what he had envisioned, and it would have worked, was harnessing the induction, the inducement of the solar wind, and tapping into that, and then putting that power all over the world. The problem with that technology, he didn't understand this, by the way, is that the sun has bursts of farts and fits of rage, and thus that technology would have been fried with a Carrington event, just like other things are going to be fried. Um, there's other things that are here that have tremendous amounts of energy that are basically just matter decaying, and we can harness that decay. That's what powers our Earth. That's what powers everything, really. Fusion, obviously, we could also harness, but I think first fission is a more easier thing to harness. People say, "Oh, you've been using water reactors. We've been harnessing it," and yeah, no, it's terrible. 1947 technology that was really designed for war, and it's not designed to make power. Molten salt reactors is what you need to make power reliably and safely. Obviously, yes, fusion is the best way to go, but it's much harder. Okay. An analogy to this: fission is like putting a golf ball into a bowl with a hole in the center. It's very easy for you to put that ball will go in. Fusion is like trying to do the opposite. The ball is now this way, and you're trying to put that ball up a hill. So the conditions have to be a certain way. Are there fusion reactors that work. Yes, there's the compact fusion reactor CPF that Lockheed has made, but it's not free energy because the fuel has to be so pure. It costs more energy to make that fuel than it does for that reactor. But they didn't design it for that, they designed it for military use. So, thus, something that puts out 200 megawatts and it's only the size of a 6 foot object is incredible. Um, then there's Tokamak next to MIT. That does work, but it runs on helium 3. The only native source of helium 3 is sitting on the moon. There's 2.2 metric million tons of it on the moon because the sun has been depositing it there for the last 4 billion years. So, yes, running on reactors like that, you could power the world with maybe 600 pounds a year of helium 3. But the ultimate is a fusion that would run on seawater, essentially. That I don't think we're going to get there until we perfect the photon computer. We need more computer technology that's and another math that we don't have. We're still really running math that was given to us by Newton. So I hope that answered your question. Um, as far as Revelation goes, yeah, I've been going over that. Remember when you're reading it, okay, to understand that it's written by a man who was very emotional, no question. John was the heart of the New Testament. Matthew was the brains of it. Um, and Peter was basically, the rock. But the reality is that he has to describe things. Language itself is an inferred reference. Thus, it's very difficult for him to put into words what he was seeing. It's very difficult for me to put into words what I saw when I died. I mean, I don't even know how to describe the creatures that I saw. Um, I could say that it's like Aliens, like the second movie, but on steroids. Um, human beings and horrible, yeah. It's just and everybody being pushed and falling into this bottomless pit and screaming, you know, all kinds of emotions. Um, but you know, a poet could probably put it into better words than I could. Um, I could describe it in detail what I saw, but so here's John, and God shows him something 2,000 years hence, and he has to describe it in terms that he understands and can relate to, and that's what you're reading. Okay, these seals can be anything from a Windows page to anything. I mean, just saying. So you have to understand that, but it's quite evident, especially with Netanyahu and what's going on in Israel now. We are seeing biblical prophecy come true right before our eyes. So it's very important that everybody prepares. You learn how to die before you can truly live. Fear is the enemy. And so that means you have to take Christ into your heart and realize that he died for your sins, my sins, everybody's sins. But again, one of the things that I love about his sacrifice and his cleansing is that I will be able to embrace my Father in heaven and tell him how thankful I am for the life that he's graced me with. So, I kid about the fishing, but I mean, there are no words. Hopefully, there'll be some new challenges that, these people say to me that, all my questions will be answered and everything else. Um, I, I do want that to be answered, but I want more questions. So I want more. As the challenges in life, the struggles that that I look forward to, solving problems is one of the things I love to do. It gives me existence and meaning, and it's one of the things I'm good at. So, so it's just a matrix we live in. Well, it's you have to realize something else. This is very important, and this goes back to the serpent. Serpent. Um, God knows everything, back to front. The reality is that Lucifer is doing his work, God's work. Um, I know that sounds crazy, but the reality is that God knew when He created Lucifer where Lucifer was going to be. So that's what omniscient means. So obviously, the choice and the test is there for a reason because God doesn't want fake admiration, fake worship, and I worship you because I fear you. He wants genuine love. He wants the same love that everybody wants. Um, I I mean, one of the $1 million hugs was when my son graduated in the Naval Academy, and just oh, you couldn't put a price tag on that hug. You just couldn't because there was more. It it can't be put into words, and I know that myself. I won't be able to. I'll just probably be crying like I am a little bit now, but I'll just be hugging, groveling. But hopefully, I'll be able to stand up, give him a real hug, and then say, "What's next?" No. Remember what happened to Job? Um, God permitted it. God doesn't have to permit, but God is permitting. We live in a fallen world, so He's permitting these things to happen for a reason because it's a test of what you do in the circumstances of it. It's a test to what you say. It's a test to what you think. It's a test. So, we all looked at that one 5-year-old kid, you know, yelling at the border. And I'm like, what about all those children who are American citizens who are homeless, who are crying just as much? What about those kids in Chicago that were shot? What about those kids in New York City that were shot? What about the horrible child abuse that's going on? What about all the sins that are going on? So, you can't really trust the media for what they're showing because they're part of the problem. They're not giving you the truth, really. Um, they weren't giving you accurate reporting about January 6th. They weren't giving you accurate reporting since. I mean, now they couldn't prosecute any of these people because the evidence fell through. But yet they were in jail, and some of them are still in jail the entire time. And nobody's talking about that because if we do, we get censored. So what does that mean? Um, I was accused of hate speech, and I'm like, I don't hate anybody. I love everybody. But what I'm saying is I don't understand. If you say you're a specific thing or whatever, fine. Please give me the definitions. Um, I am unclear. I do not know. I do not understand. If there's 68 official sexes in New York and there's 100 in San Francisco, why? Why the difference? What's the difference? Where can I find the difference? How can it be quantified? If I'm going to be accused of being an error of something, how can I be an error of something when I don't understand? I don't have any knowledge. I don't understand. I can't look at somebody and understand what they're feeling. I have no comprehension of that in any way, shape, or form. So I'm not coming from any hate. I'm coming from I don't understand. And that's what it is. I don't understand. I'm confused. I'm legitimately confused. Please explain this to me. What is the difference? Why in one city it's one way, in another city it's something else? Um, I don't think that we won World War II. No. Um, um, Basically, I call it Truman's Folly. At the end of World War II, um, all the generals, Bradley, Eisenhower, MacArthur, Halsey, admirals, Nimitz, they all came to Truman. They said, "Look, the genie's out of the bottle. We gotta take over the whole world." They saw that we were going to be in another war. Um, the USI, Oscar Sierra, and they were what became the CIA. They obviously had the goods on a failed haberdasher because they went along with him. Since the end of World War II, the world has spent almost $200 trillion on destroying itself, war. And coincidentally, the Rothschilds family has gotten 200 or well 190 trillion dollars worth of gold, supposedly. You know, just saying. And if they do, I don't know this for sure, but if they do, I saw that there was a lot of gold. Why? What is it doing? It's worthless if you don't do something with it. Um, so less than 4.5 years, we were in war again because war is very profitable, and that's what my father was in. And then we were in another one after a coup attempt. Not an attempt; it succeeded. They killed John F. Kennedy. So, and look it up. Executive Order 11110 was canceled within the first 30 minutes. You think it's by chance it was canceled the first 30 minutes? I don't think it was by chance. But that's my opinion. What happened? What happened? And now they're telling us, oh, yeah, the seven's going to come out, but no, we don't have any. No, it's not advanced technology. No, no, they're going to continue to lie. Um, there's no question that they're lying about it, and they've been lying about it since 1947. Because it doesn't, like I say this a million times over, it doesn't take 8 trucks, some 300 men, 3 DC-3s, 2 hangars to recover a basically weather balloon with some stuff hanging onto it that was launched by 2 guys in a Jeep. There's photographic Photoshop evidence that I've actually looked at. Others have decoded as well. And then there's testimonies of my father that he went through and others that I know of, firsthand experience. So exactly what my father saw. So, and my father was an exact person, and he said to me, quote, I said, well, what is it? Is it aliens? He said, well, it's not Ruskies. So whenever they, I don't know where it's from, where they're from, what they are, but they're not from here. Or at least not Chinese, not us. We didn't have the same. The things doing exactly the same they did in 1956. No change. Exactly what they saw in 1956. The other thing you have to also understand, literally 30 days later, they formed this most top secret organization, and you can check this out. It's Majestic 12, MJ12. Okay, you can look that up. That was formed. So if this was all a weather balloon, why did you form this top secret organization that even some presidents didn't have access to it? So what's that about? Are they among us? Have they infiltrated? We don't know. I do know that there have been sightings all over the world by people who know exactly what they're seeing. And when I mean know what they're seeing, they know what they're seeing. Okay. And they were told, you didn't see what you saw. So, um, basically, the reason why you're getting better, essentially, you're being strengthened by the adversity that you're facing. You're learning. You're becoming more by empathizing and trying to help others, by seeing the inequities and seeing the things that are being done that are not good. I mean, like I said, poking. Um, I I get back to Exodus 20, and I think of that, you know, that third paragraph. And, oh, I would not want to be on that side of the Lord in any way, shape, or form. And He's giving everybody a way out, but they're doing everything they can to. They don't want to hold a mirror up to their lives, so they're just basically, yeah. So it's not good. Yeah, I know about that project, but I can't talk about it. Look up Montauk. That's where I used to work. I don't know anything about Antarctica, but I do know that we lost about 141 ships. That I know. So something happened. No, it was the Nazis. So I believe personally, this is my belief, that there is other entities, all the life forms that are out there, many of them. And I feel that there is a fight between good and evil throughout this meatloaf, this universe. And I think that that fight has come here. That's what I personally believe. I think that some of it is definitely no question about it. It's spiritual, and God has told us how to deal with a spiritual um, attack, and that is we can't deal with it. We have to um, ask our King and our Lord Jesus, because we are, when you become saved, you're part of His body. You become His church. So it's Him working through you, but it's He commands that, and that's what you don't understand. You can't do it. You have to have your faith in Jesus to do it, and Jesus will do it. Rick Riley, who's no longer here, has been a presence of many, okay, such encounters. He doesn't like it, but who would? Okay. So, but if you think that God has created just us, um, yeah, that's arrogant. Oh, you're there. So, um, there's a battle on this planet. I correct where there were 200 and some 211 angels that were thrown out of heaven cast here, something like that. It was over 200, right? They're demons now. Yeah, I understand, but also people have to understand the power of Jesus Christ, and the power of Jesus Christ is the power that you have to invoke. You have to call upon Him. You can't do this alone. You can't face this alone. He's with you. But that's where we needed faith. Our leaders did not have that faith. They didn't hold the line. They had to hold the line, and that's how you deal with spirits. You, Jesus, please help me. I am not going to give. There is no quarter I'm not giving. That's what you have to have the faith that God's going to come through for you. God has to permit. And if you had the faith, they didn't have the faith. That's why we're in the predicament we're in now. So, but again, I guess this is part of what needs to happen. Yep. About the chip, there's been a fire in a factory in Japan and also makes those chips. Isn't it unbelievable? I don't know if you've ever been to Japan, but they are the most anal people ever. Okay. I mean, I hate to say this, but I mean, yeah, no, then no. Okay. No. I don't, believe that that fire was by accident. Max. Hey, Max. Come here, buddy. So next week I'll be doing my show. Come on, buddy. Come on. Come up here. Show everybody how pretty you are. Come on. Pretty. Are you pretty? You're handsome. You're handsome. Oh yes, Rick is absolutely correct. Um, I have not had any of such encounters, but well, that's not totally true, but I fear no man or beast. Next week's show, I might do a live broadcast from Florida, but I don't know if I'll be able to find the time. So Max is going with me, so it's gonna be fun. Most likely, I will not have the time. Um, but I'll have more knowledge. Let's put it that way. So, but as you've seen, what I was telling you was the truth. What I said to you was the truth. Everybody was telling me, and my channel's been hurt so much, it's been unbelievable. But what I was saying was the truth. And now it's been proven that I was saying the truth. And am I people going, hey, he was telling the truth? Nope, I have no super chats, no monas. So please join my Patreon, please. It helps. It really, it's the only way. I don't sell t-shirts. I don't sell merchandise. I don't sell anything. I wasn't about to do that. Um, I try to teach from the heart and try to explain things that are asked to me. And what the Patreon does is support this channel. That also supports other work that I do. So, um, yeah, I'm seeing everybody in my family. So that is a good thing. Um, it's a fantastic thing. Yeah, I mean they're giving me problems. My email is giving me problems, tremendous problems. But I made a lot of progress on things, so that's good. Uh, I still have problems. I still have one stone that's giving me a problem. Uh, it gives me a pain in my neck. Is really what it is. Yeah, guys, I'm going to tell you something right now. Okay, if you're on the west coast of the United States and you're not above 1,000 feet, um, like I said, I would. It's going to take time. So I would definitely have a bug out bag. I definitely would have it packed. I definitely would have it in the trunk, able to at any moment's notice. And let me tell you, please listen to me. If you're stuck in traffic, get out of your car and just leave it. Okay? Leave it with the keys in it. It's not worth your life. Okay? Because if there's a 9.0 earthquake, there will be a huge tsunami. Okay? I understand you emailed me, but well, what they're doing is they are, how can I put it? They're screwing with my emails. So, yeah. So you'll be confused. Sorry, you're fine. You're absolutely fine. Then all you have to do is worry about no power, no power, and no food, no water. So then you have to prepare for those three things: power, water, food. Food that you can keep without refrigeration. Okay, and a way to heat it and cook it as shelter. That's what you have to worry about. Don't worry. Don't think that Mama Government gonna wear it. No, they're not gonna do that. Um, well, I can't control that. I don't know what they're doing. I'm still posting to my Patreon site. Um, they probably don't like the recent post of the Rick. You should just buy the year thing. Just one subscription. It's a year, and that's the cheapest thing I have on there. It's literally giving you month and a half for free. It's the most I could do. Well, Texas is booming. My son says, um, you don't want to go across the country. It depends on where you want to go. But the problem with the area that you're in is number one, it's infrastructure. Number two, it's there. Did you guys know there was a volcano just southeast of LA, literally? So, yeah, it has gone off in some, I don't know, 1500 years, but there's all signs that it's going to. The other thing you have to understand is when I say to you that the Earth has sped up, now that's another 1.2 milliseconds. That means so far this year, it's almost 3 milliseconds. You're like, so what, Bob? So it's going 3 milliseconds faster. Yeah, well, uh, that's a lot. You know, there's Milla, there's Milla is thousands, okay? Micron is millions. And nano, okay, nanoseconds it was slowing down. And nanoseconds, that's billions. Okay. So speeding up by the amount that has been speeding up is just nuts. That's a tremendous amount of energy that's been thrown into the planet. And, you know, F equals MA. So, yeah. And so that's a lot. Okay. I mean, I don't think anybody really knows what the Earth weighs as far as its mass. There's people who estimate it, but they really don't understand the core. So all I can tell you is that it's more than 100 pounds. And yeah. So that means that's any tectonic plates which are floating. They're essentially floating on top of the it's not going to be good. Okay. Not going to be good at all. Um, Arkansas and Alabama, but there's low spots in both. There's Ozarks are pretty good. Um, the Northeast is good. Um, but the governments are terrible. uh, Florida's nice, but Florida's not going to be here anymore. The problem is that when it happens, we don't know what's going to happen. Now there have been signs that the new North Pole, might be ending up in Indonesia, and the new South Pole might be someplace either in the Bermuda Triangle or just on the other side of Peru. This whole motion might happen. I did a video on this. It might happen within hours. The flip. We don't know. It's this is we weren't here the last time it happened, 750,000 years ago. But we know that it happens. We know that it happens fast too. But there is a geological record for it. We don't know exactly how fast it happens. That's the problem. We don't know if it's going to happen. We don't know if it's. We don't know. So there's a lot we don't know. But it all makes biblical sense in a lot of ways when you start working out what's going to go on. And what will happen is that the auroras will be all over the world. And no, this is the problem. 23 Angel Flight. You ready for this? God has given us the knowledge to stop it. We can stop this. We can stop it all. We can stop a CME. We can stop an asteroid. We can stop a supervolcano, and we can stop the flip. What's frustrating to people like myself is not only is it not being done, but it's not being done on purpose. In the effect that they want these horrific things to happen so that the population of the earth be removed by almost 90%. They want this. They want the world population to come down to about 500 million people. I'm not kidding. They really do. They think they're going to be, they believe the big lie. They think they're going to be fine. And we'll be slaves. That's what they think. That's the lie. They're going to be dead. So, yeah. It's the big lie. So they're gonna be dead. You don't have to be. You can prepare. You know, a lot of people believe, and I now I'm convinced. I'm convinced. I think that the whole thing of this rapture before the tribulations is satanic. I think it's satanic. I think that it's false. I don't believe it. And it's not written that way at all. So you must prepare. And your faith is going to be tested. Your words of faith is going to be tested. You're going to be tested. And you must hold truth to that. And that's what you got to do. Because Jesus will not call us up into the sky until after those bowls are emptied. That's what it says. No. The Great Lakes will be really bad. Basically, picture the Earth just stopping. So any water is going to go that way. Well, no. I've been reading it and reading it and reading it, and there's no question now that the scripture is clear. You know, he is going to come. He's going to come after all these false prophets, and specifically the false Antichrist that's basically going to try to do what he did and emulate that. And I think, that's part of this whole rapture thing. And that's very bad. Very, very bad. So, yeah, very bad. And because it's not going to be, because you see what Satan tries to do, he tries to fool. So he's not going to be this horrible thing you can't look at. No. His son is going to be, and he's going to look like he did miracles and everything else and whatnot. But no, not him. I haven't read it. I want to. I haven't had time. I've been working. But the truth of the matter is, yeah. Christ doesn't come until 1911. All this stuff happens. 18, all these things happen. All these that's in 16, first bowl, second bowl, third bowl, fourth bowl. There's no rapture. Doesn't happen. That is a satanic thing. I'm telling you, it really is. It's a lie. It's a lie to give you false hope to make you think. And I'm telling you, what's going to happen is it's going to set up like that to make these people think, oh, it's all part of it. No, you have to be strong for others who are not going to be strong. I'm sorry, but it's right here. Now I saw heaven open. I'm reading from the Bible. And behold, a white horse, and he who sat on him was called faithful and true, and in righteousness he judges and makes war. His eyes were like a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns. He had a name written that no one knew except himself. He was clothed with a robe dipped in blood, and his name was called the Word of God. This is 1911. So if you say that that's a lie, then you say throw out the whole thing about Revelation, throw out all John's testimony, throw out also Daniel. You know, what Ezekiel talks about it too. No, I'm sorry. That's the word. It's, you know. Show me where it says in Revelation that we're called up before Christ comes. I'm going to tell you right now, that's a lie. That's the Antichrist stuff. You watch, because it's going to happen. No, the tribulation comes about from prayer. The two people, right? I'm telling you, the same reason that brought about Exodus is going to bring about this. Because God is these bowls, they're being filled up by, we can't take it anymore. We can't stand it. Haven't you been praying that you're on the precipice? You can't take it anymore? I can't take it anymore. I don't know about you, but I've been praying with everything I have. So these are an answers to our prayers, just like Exodus was an answer to their prayers, the sons and daughters of Abraham. What's the difference? I know you're gonna not agree with it, but I'm not talking about rapture. I'm talking about the fact that we're not going to be taken up until Christ comes. It says clearly we're going to join him in the sky, dead and alive. That's what he says. Rick, you tell me if I'm wrong. This guy knows more about God than I have in my nail. Max. I knew it was argumentative, but I've gone through this, folks, and I'm telling you right now. There's only one Christ. That's it. There's only one. He is the one that commands us. We're his subjects. He brings us up when he comes. Okay. I don't know what about all this other stuff that's here, but it can't be good. I have. I'm not only surrendered to God. I'm by every breath I take. I'm here by His grace. Period. He cured my aneurysm. He cured my blindness. He cured me from my stroke. It's all to Him. Period. No ifs, ands, or buts. Everything. Everything. Okay. So this 19 chapter comes after. We're not talking a little after. Will you please tell me prelude to the bowl of judgments? This is not good. I mean, and then the 16, chapter 16, with the first bowl, loathsome sores. Second bowl, the sea that turns to blood. Third bowl, the waters that turn to blood. Where does it say here, before that chapter? Tell me the chapter it says that we are taken up to away from this. I have not read this. I have read where we are taken up to meet of our Lord and Savior and our King right here, no question about it. Right here. Bathroom, my guys. And he has on his robe and his thigh a name written, King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. I mean, just say this. That's no. That's 1911. Well, 1916. I mean, yeah. The Lord revealed his royal majesty during his years earthly ministry, but God will spotlight his glory upon his return so that no one could possibly miss it. He is coming with clouds, and every eye will see him. I don't know what to say. That's what it says. But Rick is the expert on this, so he will say I'm wrong, and I will accept that, or he'll say I'm right. Am I wrong or right, Rick? Yeah, I mean, Lord, give me a break. So he says I'm correct. I stand by what he says because he knows, like I said, more than you see this nail right here. This nail is long. Okay, if I cut the nail, that'll be my knowledge compared to Rick. And let me tell you something. That man has juice. Okay, because I was being hounded day and night to get him that solar panel system. Ah. Well, all I can tell you is this, okay? Prepare for the worst, which means prepare that your faith is going to be challenged. Challenged. You will listen to me right now. You will not deny your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. You will not, no matter what they do to you, no matter what they do to your loved ones, no matter what, you will not deny him. Period. If anything, you're going to call upon Jesus to help you. You're going to call upon our Father in heaven to help you. You're not going to give up your faith, no matter what happens. No matter what happens, do not, okay, stay in that faith. I know it's not easy. That's why I'm telling you now, prepare. You have to prepare your heart, your mind, and your soul for what's about to happen. You know, I used to read this and I couldn't understand a word of it. Couldn't understand it until really recently. And I'm looking at everything and I'm like, crap, we are in this now. This has happened. Come on. Have you ever in your life imagined that is happening, that will happen, that is happening? Well, 23 Angel Fly, the system they got, Rick, is specifically designed for his power needs of that CPAP machine to run that specific unit for 20 hours. Okay. That's realistic. So that's why it was so much money. Um, Not everybody has those needs. I mean, charge phone, do this, whatever. But that is a very power hungry appliance. Okay. And it's not just a regular CPAP machine, special. So it takes quite a bit of wattage to run that for a long time. And the reason why he has to have such a long time is because he's only going to get, even at the worst thing, he might not get, enough sunlight. So it also has the ability to be charged with his car. And, so there's alternate things that he can use to charge it. Exactly. Rick is exactly right. He is going to call us up. Now, I don't know how he's going to do that, but doesn't matter. We're gonna go up there. I'm gonna take my orders from him. Okay. I'm gonna say, what do you want me to do? Okay. If he wants me to fall on somebody, man, I got that covered. Okay. You don't want me to fall on you. That would be bad. Okay. That's Nancy. That's fine. Praise the Lord. That's good. I think we all need to talk about God to each other because we're going to be tested. I mean, come on, look what's going on. You can't turn on the tube without not seeing what you're seeing. Okay. And in 5 years ago, you never thought that this would be the reality. But look, there's people openly getting gender nullification. It's now a thing now. They're nullifying their gender. They want to be smooth. I'm not kidding. That's a thing. Look it up. And you're being criticized for choosing and being, because you see they can't face that. So instead they don't want the mirror. Instead, the mirror has to be put on you so that you are wrong, you are whatever, you're just not awoke, and all this other thing. And no, okay, that's part of the lie. So you must stay in your faith. We don't judge. We don't judge. We love. We confess Jesus' love for us. He loved them too. Loves all of us. So that's what we preach is love. Oh, there's no question about it that this has been an operation from all the way back, going up to Mao. I would definitely say it. And there's no question that, and I know this from the original Manchurian Candidate movie with Frank Sinatra. That was partially true, and there was a whole. That's a movie you should take out and rent, because what they said there is key. They said that the methodology was decadence and the weakness, and there's no question that really. And I'll tell you something. Frank Sinatra did a very good job, and he didn't rehearse too much because he wanted his acting to be more spontaneous, more real. So it's really, really well acted, and yeah. But also, Rick will tell you, um, a certain amount of that opens the heart and the soul, the human being without the Lord in there is an empty vessel, especially somebody that is doing that. Thus, that makes them extremely vulnerable to bad things, and he will say that. Um, it's not good. I forget the chapter was written. Wrote about that where one leaves and then goes and gets two others that are worse. So there's all, you know. I'm sure that you'll see when you learn of the that this is just one dimension of many, many dimensions, and these are other dimensional beings, and we do not have power over them. Jesus does, and we have to call upon Jesus to help us with that. So, oh yeah, there's no question about that, Richie, and I would totally agree with that. That's what I'm saying. It's like it's the poking, and it's the hate. When I died, that's what I felt. I felt tremendous amounts of hate, animosity, regret, fear, all the emotions from people falling into hell. A lot of hate, tremendous amount of hate. The only thing I was feeling from from heaven was just pure love. That's all I was feeling. Um, yeah. Well, it again goes back to, like I said, the two trees and the choices. But I mean, Lucifer must be one hell of a liar. I mean, think about it. Because he turned those angels after they saw what God did. They saw what God was created them, created everything. So he must have been an incredible salesman to say, "Hey, come on, we can take over the joint. Well, let's gang up on it. We could do it." Like I said, I think Rick and I were having a conversation, and that 40 days in the in the desert and stuff before really the 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 church of Jesus was really formed. That also has to do with the parallels to Noah. That has to do with the parallels to 40 days and 40 nights of rain. But also, I think it was a tease to get Lucifer infuriated, Satan so infuriated, purple, because if he knew that what the he would never let Jesus get hurt by us. He would have protected him with everything he had. He knew that what really was going to happen. You see, Jesus had to taunt him, so that hate is just no logic at all. And there you go. And then as the Lord said, it's done. And what basically God did in heaven, defeating Satan, Jesus did on the cross, defeating Satan. And that's our salvation. So that was the fight that he gave for us on that cross. And that's so important. That's everything. Everything. And that word and more he wants to basically, I personally believe that we are a photon computer. We're a biological photon computer. The quantum entanglement is what gives us consciousness. And he wants those little photons. And he wants to hurt because that's all he can do. He wants to hurt God. That's my opinion. I didn't see Rick's message. Rick, we're in the end times now. So it's important that you speak the truth, because I know that you know the truth. Because these people need to see the truth. It's very important that they see the truth. Because there's very little of the truth around. So I pray for these people. I pray for all of them. And I legitimately ask, but I was punished for that. You did not see me for a week and a half because they took down a video they've taken down so many videos. They took down a video, it was proven whatever, but they ruled it as conspiracy, whatever, so and so, but now it turns out it's true. Will they put it back? Answer: no. Yeah, I'm not even comfortable saying that name, Rick. But Charles Stanley writes, But in fact, the devil cannot make us do anything. The Bible calls Satan a deceiver. Genesis 3:13, 2 Corinthians 11:3, Revelation 18:23, and the father of lies, John 8:44. Satan's only power over us is through manipulation and deceit. And think about it, is that really love? No, you don't turn around and lie to somebody that you love. You tell them the truth. Oh yes, I know. White lies. I don't. I think what you have to do is search yourself as a thesaurus and come up with a different adjective that specifically states that you might not like something that you're tasting that much. In the beginning, my wife burned the water when we first got married. I was thin then, but oh my gosh, she became a fantastic cook, and it was through a lot of tests on me and everything else, and I didn't really, you know, and I said to her, well, it's not one of my favorites. I tried to do it, even though I saw that she worked really hard, I tried to do it but I didn't want to lie to her and say, yeah, no, I was not going to do that. And, but yeah, now she makes incredible food. I as far as cooking outside, and there's a few dishes I cook inside. It's legit, but um, everything she made this eggplant parmesan. You'd swear it was chicken. It was incredible. It was really really good. It was amazing. It was amazing. Low calorie, low salt, but it tasted fantastic. Really, I'd say the best. It tasted like chicken, but it was eggplant, so it was great. Well, that's the thing, not only but the choice is yours, and that's the whole thing. The choice is yours. It's laid out in front of you. And it's really, to be honest with you, it's really, really easy today because it's becoming so right that wow. Okay. I mean, like, wow. So in your face. And, Walgreens had to close 10 stores and they're yelling at them because they couldn't prosecute anybody up to $950 worth of goods. They're wiping out the contents of the store, not paying for it. And you expect the business to keep the store open. I mean, it's just ludicrous. New York City is just a disaster area for the same reason. No bail, no prosecution. It's just nuts. So you know, yep. And if you read John, a lot of times what Jesus says specifically in John, I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you the truth. More than any other gospel, John says that. Um, because it's kind of we get back to like another subject I'll just touch on, but ghosts, which I believe that there are. I don't know what they are, but there's definitely no questions about it. I've seen it in my own eyes, and my wife has seen it, and there's ghosts in Long Island, big time, some houses. And how do I know this? Because when they thought he was a ghost, he did not correct him. Said, "No, there's no such thing as ghosts." He said, "I am not a ghost." He would have said, "There's no such things as ghosts." Do I know what they are? Absolutely not. I don't know what they are. A lot of things I do not know. I don't know that. I don't know where the aliens are from, but I know that I don't know if they're mechanical. I don't know if they're beings. I have no idea. I don't know how many there are, but I'm sure there's more than one species. Yeah. Anyway, I want you guys to have. No, that's not what he said. And I don't know. I'll leave you with the story. Okay, you ready for this? We're looking at a house, and this is in Cold Spring Harbor. It was an old place. It was built in 1913, and there was no power. No, it was a real fixer-upper. Big place, big mansion, and a lot of property years ago, before children. And I'm filming my wife. I'm filming the thing with a VHC camera, and she feels something go past her, and I couldn't see through the viewfinder what was. But when we looked at it back home on my big Mitsubishi set, and I was able to turn the gain up, I clearly saw a workman. It was just about 1920s, 1925, who was in overalls, and he was holding a lantern, and he walked right past my wife. True story. And there have been other sightings. It's stuff that's been recorded on security cameras, bar right up here in Northport and Huntington. Unbelievable stuff. And I don't know what it is. I have no explanation for it. I don't know what it is. I'm sure that's going to be one of the questions are going to be answered, but I did not answer. I couldn't speak. I was, like I said, I've been through that. At any rate, I want you people to have a very safe. Is deception? Yes, deception is as a lie, sin. Absolutely. It's one thing to keep an oath and say you can either confirm or deny. That's different. You're not when you say you can't confirm or deny, you're not lying. You're telling the truth. You can't confirm or deny. You took an oath before God. Haven't broken my oath. If I say to you that I can't confirm or deny, that's not lying. That's basically putting out both parts. That's Rick can tell me about that, but I don't, you know. So it's not lying. It's saying you can't talk about it. Simple. Yeah, way it goes. Anyway, God bless everybody. Take Christ into your heart. Have a great weekend, and keep praying. Okay, don't lose faith.